Hey guys, and welcome back to another Rise podcast episode. We are currently on episode 6, I believe, and today we'll just be touching on a little bit about Rise's year in 2023, some ups and downs. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. What do you guys say?
Definitely.
We've had a bit of good moments and bad, and just talk about culture, society, and some of the personal things maybe we went through this year. So
Absolutely.
if you guys
Absolutely.
would like to
Yeah,
introduce
sure.
yourselves.
Thanks, Sabir. So I'm
Nice.
Awale. This
Uh-huh.
is my third episode.
Mm-hmm.
I took part in the first two episodes, the World
Yeah.
Cup, and also well, actually, it was last December, just a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and also the serious discussion I did with Mohammed and also Ahmed around mental health, which
Right.
was really a very heavy topic for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really glad to be here today and to be able to touch on a light, kind of reflective topic
Yeah,
of 2023 and obviously look into the future as well.
absolutely. Fantastic.
Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum firstly, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
And as the new year's coming, I want to give you an early new year, so happy new year everyone.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you guys all watch this, it will probably be next to the new year,
Mm-hmm.
the last of the year. And yeah, just like Awali, Awali came on 3, I came on
Yeah.
a 2. My first podcast was a really intensive topic.
Yeah.
It was on community mental health. And you can imagine, there's no jokes there. It was really serious topic.
Mm-hmm.
But today I'm looking to
We're gonna be a bit
I wanna
more laid back.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
laid back. That's
Yeah.
the one. That's the one. I'm more
Definitely.
laid back, so I'm just hoping to enjoy this and
I actually think I forgot to introduce myself, so I'm gonna do that. Guys, you probably haven't seen me, new face on the podcast. My name is Sabir. I've recently just joined Rise about what was it?
4 months now.
3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I do the youth engagement at Rise, and really just been enjoying my time. First time on the podcast.
Yeah.
Excellent being here, and
a fresh baby in it.
Yeah. Different vibe. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
definitely.
Different vibe.
Yeah.
but you know, one thing I really like about Rise organization is the events. I mean, I haven't been here for too long. I haven't been here the whole of 2023, but during the time I have been here, I would say that the Somali culture night was something I haven't experienced before. It was like really, really amazing to see everyone come together and do that. Like, from your end, guys, like, how was it organizing that and putting all those pieces together?
Yeah. Do you wanna? It was your idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, you should have worked for it a while.
Yeah.
Just want to go through the back door, but I'll
Yeah.
go for it. I'll go for it. It was really, I mean, it took us over 5 years to first deliver.
Mm-hmm.
We initially thought about it nearly 2016,
Yeah.
and at that time, the plan of action was there, but there was no serious person to take it on.
Right.
And ironically, you had to reach the lead of the council, who we obviously pitched the idea to, and she really pushed it.
Mm-hmm.
She made her manifesto. She put in her manifesto. They made it into the campaign on the Labour campaign, and it got itself into the campaign for Labour. So Labour actually campaigned on "We will deliver it."
Yeah.
That shows the level of like what was going on. They did not want to do stuff like that, and they literally, she really worked hard in making sure. And I want to thank her again. The leaders really, put this whole idea to the council, and she made it like a promise. And on an election pledge, you have to deliver it,
Right.
and she
Absolutely.
did it. So
Uh-huh.
after she did that, we had to do the work and the legwork, and we were yearning to do that. Myself and Awali,
Mm-hmm.
say cultural experts,
Yeah.
people who are interested in culture.
Yeah.
And there was other guys, I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
there was the volunteers, the community wanted it. It was more of a community project than any other project that we've been delivering. It was something that the whole community wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you saw on that day in Sabir, there was young children all dancing, and they were,
Yeah.
like they had the colourful colours, the clothing
The
and
traditional
Yeah.
clothing.
traditional
Yeah.
clothing. They had a lot, and even families bringing the food, and we kept telling them no more. We can't. We don't even have space for all this food, and we've had enough food and enough. So there was so much support. There was the level of like when you look at the turnout was massive turnout. It was almost 250 people,
Wow.
and it was just, and that's how much the whole hall can fit. If we had said
Maximum, yeah.
it was the maximum capacity.
Wow.
If we had went to a hall that was 1,000,
Yeah.
it would have been full within days.
Wow.
And while you also noticed, and Sabir, both of you, there was people coming from other boroughs. That
Yeah.
was really, for me, that was the highlight. The fact that there was children and mothers and fathers coming from Ealing and Tower Hamlet, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're bringing people from this whole of London to our
Exactly.
cultural show. So cultural show to me was a big yes. It was a big, big yes this year. So all the ones that who took part, all the people who organised it, the people who funded it, the Haringey Council, the leader of the council. I mean, Bernie Grand Centre, Tucson, Sean, all the people who put this cultural show together. Somali Night was a big, win.
Yeah.
That's not
100%.
Definitely, definitely, and like Ahmed said so perfectly as well. For me, I think to have the leader of the council and put the Somali culture show into the Labour Party manifesto, I think was serious. As a community, for years we've been kind of lobbying and canvassing the powers that be
Right.
to really acknowledge the Somali community. And obviously what binds us all of us together really is food, you know, like music, dance, hidiya dhaqan.
Right.
So what better than to organize a yearly event? So when we did it last year, it was just a one-off event. But then Haringey Council approached us to then do the event again. And we said, okay, you know, let's, as it were, kill two birds with one stone. Black History Month is coming up.
Right.
You know, the Somali community is usually absent during Black History Month. So let's put the event together. And also let's do it during half term when we can get maximum number of families attending as well. So one of the key things for me was really organizing the event so that it had the involvement of young children. Usually when we think of Somali culture, it's something that's not very visible. It's usually done during yearly celebrations.
Yeah.
But to do it during half term, to have a large part of the event dedicated to children, where they can learn traditional dances, customs, and also just really, you know, kind of like play with other children. I think that was really important, and it's a way of kind of passing the culture down, because we're noticing, as I'm sure, at least from my point of view, we're noticing a lot of young people are not speaking the Somali language. They're not really involved in the Somali community. So the say wallahi, boya batalom generation.
I can't, maybe I'm a little bit guilty of that. Just a little bit guilty. You know, I can relate to that one.
Yeah. But your Somali is very good, Sabir, though.
Debatable. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
My Somali, I would say my understanding is fairly good. But when it comes to speaking, I feel like it's with anything. If you don't practice it, you kind of just...
that's bad. Because nowadays, I don't know if you noticed, but Wali, but in Haringey, a lot of the people like, I mean, Simon from the Trump yesterday said "Mafi auntie" to me. And, I mean, ordinary people that are non-Somalis are actually speaking more words than some of the Somalis. So like, what's going on out there? Like, I'm thinking you're Somali, you have to speak Somali. I mean, you must know. I mean, if you're Greek, you speak Greek. They always do that. Especially the Turkish communities, they do really well. In every Turkish kid that was born here, they speak fluent Turkish. Why? Is there something going on with our culture? What's going on? Like, I'm really aback by that. I'm always shocked to hear and see Somali people not speaking the language, but Turkish people seem to do it. We have the Asian communities, the Bangladeshis. You can have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old Bengali. He speaks fluent English. He speaks fluent Bengali. Or you see cha-cha-chai, cha-cha-chai. And it's like, wow. I'm like, wow. It's like when he's speaking to his mom, he's like, chai-chai, why? Like, whoa, okay. Go, boy. It's like...
Are you speaking Bengali there?
You know what I'm saying? I'm not, guys.
You see a little something.
A little something to give you the, come on, guys. It just gives you the
taste.
But it gives you the taste. But like what I'm saying is, with the Somali kids, I feel like the Somali parents sometimes they're not proud of their language, and Somali kids they're not really proud of being who they are, and because of that they always technically they always associate, or I don't speak Somali all the time, is being not part of like, I mean it's not being proud of your culture, that's what leads to it. So like
Absolutely.
for me, there has to be a change, and the next generation has to speak Somali, because if this generation is not speaking Somali, the culture will die, and it will become over commercialization of obviously of language.
Yeah.
Normally you get over commercialization of people going to cities.
But do you remember like growing up in like the 90s, not to reveal my age or anything,
Yeah,
but you know, we had
Awale is a big boy, guys.
I'm not
Awale,
that
a young man.
I'm not that old.
Don't let the face fool you guys.
Don't let the face fool you guys. Awale is.
Yeah.
I realized he's talking about the 90s. Whoa, 90s.
But yeah, there was Duxi, there was Mal'ama, there was a Somali club. You know, there was a level of like we spoke Somali at home. We intentionally spoke Somali,
Right.
and it was important for us as a family, because I'm noticing like with my nieces and nephews now, they none of them speak Somali, and I always test them here and there, like how do you say this in Somali? Some of them know it,
Yeah,
but a large majority of them really haven't got a clue.
Same with my younger nephews. Same with my younger cousins sometimes. And as the generation goes down, the Somali level just goes down and down, and the level just goes down. And it comes down to one thing, really. It really is. I feel like the young people are not. They really feel like Somali is not needed. While
Why is that though?
I really think in the 90s we always felt the need. We always felt we're gonna go back. Everyone's gonna go back to Somalia. We're leaving.
right.
All our bags were probably packed, waiting to go. We never went, but like it was almost like we're leaving tomorrow. And this generation feels like they really feel like they're part of being obviously here. They also feel like obviously they know that they're British.
Right.
They know, but because we wasn't born into British, it was almost took us a long time to accept it.
Right.
Because when we first came here, we were all Somalis. We were all refugees. We had, I mean, Haringey at that time, who remembers Haringey with no Somalis? We used to be like 10 families.
Yeah.
And I was probably, maybe myself and Awale were like the first few families. And I don't think there was more than 20 families in 1993, 94, there was not more than that. People started coming from 97, 98, and then
all the way to
before
2000s,
the whole community grew, and then it's a massive community.
You know what I would say, based off my experience, I'm not British Somali. I was born in the Netherlands and I moved here, but most of my childhood was here, right? And growing up, I felt like in the early years, primary school and early secondary school, it was not cool to be Somali. It was kind of like you were taking the mick out of it. It was kind of like, you know, there were certain phrases that were said and whatnot. But with that stigma, I feel like over the years, especially now in the present, it's become much more cooler, let's say. The Somali culture. A lot of people even know Somali words and they use it in their everyday language.
Absolutely.
And I feel like with upcoming Somali artists as well, people getting into mainstream music, and there's a lot more acceptance, I would say. And that would probably be a factor in people trying to like claim being proudly Somali, you know?
Exactly,
Because now it's more, I can look up to this person. This is a Somali person that's in a position where,
well, you've got like obviously
100%.
chunks. You've got like is it Beta Squad? Beta Squad.
Beta
I can
Squad.
say you've got Somali food, which is trending everywhere you go on TikTok. Somali food.
Mo Farah.
Mo Farah.
The fastest man in the world.
Triple Olympic champion.
I don't think he was the fastest.
He was the fastest, longest distance runner of all time. Longest distance runner. He broke the record for the longest distance. I don't think his record is still beaten.
So like people like him,
and he's double. He done double on the Olympics more than 4 times. World champion.
He was just untouchable.
He was just the guy, man. He still is the guy.
No,
and
definitely.
then we got other figures. We got, come on guys, we got, I mean, for instance,
Like
we go,
proper mainstream, do you mean?
yeah, Reggae Omar.
Reggae Omar,
Reggae
yeah.
Omar, the best news
A lot of the young people might
reporter.
not know who he is,
Yeah.
though.
All the generation of
Yeah.
the 90s would know he's the 90s boy.
Mm-hmm.
So Reggae Omar, he is like, he worked for the BBC, Al Jazeera,
Yeah.
BBC, Channel 4. He just went all over.
Mm.
He is someone you really, I mean, inspire to.
Yeah.
He's the like,
Definitely.
yeah, he's someone right up there. So like, we have so many figures that we can
Yeah.
say, yes, they made it.
Yeah.
I have a question then. So, speaking on like role models, Somali role models in particular, right? I feel like I was easily able to name a lot of people that are part of the culture, which is like musicians and artists and influencers, right? And in the entertainment industry in a way, right? However, when you look at other more professional figures, such as maybe politicians or people who are entrepreneurs and they're really doing a lot, and I feel like people don't have a lot of names that come to mind. Why do you think that is? Like,
That's
And
a
we did
really.
a few guys. There's
There's a
Magic,
few.
Magic, what was it? Magic Muhammad.
He was the first Somali
The
MEP.
first Somali MVP.
But now
Okay.
we've left the European Union, so
So-
I don't think he's involved anymore.
okay,
Within
Yes.
London, you've got a lot of Somali councillors. Our very own Ibrahim
Ibrahim
Ali,
Ali.
okay,
his
I've
first
been a politician.
Somali councillor in Haringey.
yeah,
I think there's so many. I think they even have a Somali councillors association on Twitter. I think, but most of them are Labour Party.
okay,
But also, one of, I think for me, like there was a guy called Ismail Ahmed, who is the founder of World Remit,
Yes.
and he founded World Remit, I think, as a result of like some issues with like the UN. There's a really interesting backstory there. But he is a billionaire, and
Wow.
he's from the UK. And World Remit used to sponsor Arsenal a few years ago. I think he's now sold the company, and he's doing like a lot of philanthropy and
he's
things like
still-
that. Is he involved in the
He's
background?
still involved.
Yeah.
He's now a shareholder.
Yeah.
But not, it's a shareholding company now.
Yeah.
And he's still obviously getting his bit of the pie. But
Yeah.
like he's moved on, but
Yeah.
he's making huge, like
Big, yeah.
yeah, he's really big in the
Yeah.
world of the
Yeah.
remittance world. Called
Absolutely.
remittance. And by the way, Somali remittance is the essence of like is really the backbone of the Somali community back home, and the people here really have done their share in supporting their families.
right,
It's a way of giving charities back. And I remember one time I was walking in the street and there was a Somali lady, and there was a lady that said to her, "Do you want to sign up to Save the Children? There's donation." And she first thing she said was, "I give remittance every day, 60 people."
Yeah.
I just literally laughed my head off, 'cause
Yeah.
I knew,
That's hilarious.
I knew exactly what she was talking about. That's what we
Yeah.
all do. We always send money back home.
But you know, Ahmed, I've noticed there's people are sending less now. Different generations, cost of living.
Some more money.
It's a luxury to be able to send money back home,
yeah,
and also it's not cheap. You know, if you send $100, it's $6. That's how much Dabshil is charging at the moment.
oh wow,
I don't know about the charges, but the point I'm trying to make here is
Remittance.
people
anyway,
are
is
less
cheap, yeah.
likely now to send money. I think maybe because of the idea that we've accepted that we're settled now.
yeah.
So this idea of having our bags ready to go back,
Yeah.
I no longer think that's the case here. So yeah, I actually read some really interesting documents that the younger generation are now less likely to send money back to their loved ones.
Yeah,
It's
which is-
interesting, yeah.
and also like Somali remittance organizations like the Shield, they really, obviously they really put more emphasis in also doing corporate responsibility.
Yeah.
Whenever there's like recently there was like the flooding, they'll take part. Maybe give 200,000.
yeah,
Sometimes they doing the Hargeisa fires, they gave a lot. I remember doing the Bosaso, there was a fire in Bosaso, they gave a lot. There was a flooding in Beledweyne City, they gave a lot. So they always give a lot in terms of like, just sort of to take part in the community projects and the community support. So like, yeah,
just
they're really big.
Sorry to interrupt,
Mm.
but just going back to what Awale was touching on about cost of living.
Yeah.
What's you guys' personal experiences? Because I feel like this may be a silly example, but the way I look at it is the price of a meal deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's gone up.
Not silly, yo. Absolutely.
It is so
Absolutely
bad.
right. From
If you don't have a club card now, it's bad for you.
But
Yeah.
from £3 to now £3.40.
Yeah.
And then if you haven't got a club card, £3.90.
Yeah.
So that's Tesco, by the way.
Yeah.
And anywhere else is getting. I really like that idea. It's not silly.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
No, it's real, wallahi.
It's really
real.
biting the community.
It's real. I'm normally a Sainsbury's guy.
Hey, I'm not.
So yeah,
Controversial.
it used to be £3. You know, whenever you buy like a meal deal, obviously.
I'm more of a
you get
Tesco man.
Tesco, yeah.
I've been loyal.
Tesco man.
You
I'm
get a
loyal
nice
Tesco
little
man.
package. But yeah, Sabir, I mean, that's a classic example. The meal deal, and other things I've noticed. Petrol's gone up. Cost of living is just everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
From buying like household items. If 4 years ago, if you went to Aldi and you had like £100,
Yeah.
you could have got quite a lot.
Right.
Now it's half of what you could have probably afforded. And the supermarkets, these big kind of corporations, they're really taking people to the gutter really, and they're not really. There isn't a lot of people are struggling, and I've noticed when we run the food bank, for example, and a lot of people really struggle to buy basic things, whether it's like fruit and veg. That's also gone very expensive, partly because of the transportation, the fact that it's probably going to cost a lot more to deliver it to these supermarkets who then need to kind of make a profit and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a real struggle, and rent has become very expensive.
Yeah.
Cost of rent is going up in
the
Haringey.
rent, I mean, you name it, every aspect of life has been touched by the cost of living.
Yeah.
And it's a real struggle for ordinary people.
And Haringey, to be honest, has been doing fantastic. So I mean, it might be a countrywide one, but Haringey has made a system where they support families with something called Haringey Support Fund.
Yeah.
And technically, before now, Somalis never used to apply to these support funds, and the people that are normally left behind are the ones that don't know how to apply and how to fill in the application forms. And we've been supporting the whole community with, filling some of these cost of living forms. Myself and Awali will support a mother who needs to fill in a cost of living form to get maybe a new fridge, because the fridge is now £700 and she hasn't got that.
Yeah.
Because the electricity prices have increased, and where does she get all that money from? Where does she get all that money from?
Right.
So it's absolutely shocking to see, the community is at a time where we cannot find, obviously, ourselves in terms of we can't even feed ourselves. The electrical, it's not just the cost of living, it was the gas and electricity. It was just, it's unbearable to
it's
watch.
through the roof.
I saw one family who had something like £1,000 sent to them because they just couldn't pay it, and it just kept going. And we ended up calling the provider. We went back and forwards, and through these sort of supports, we actually managed to bring it down. And the look on their faces is like of relief. It's almost like thank you. It's almost of a relief, and sometimes they will almost come back to you with a samosa, or you're like, okay, it's okay. And it's so it's unbelievable. It's it's really, really, it's really tough times for myself and Awali.
Because when you think about it, it's not something that's optional. That is a basic necessity that people need, right? We're talking about gas and electric here. It's not like it's a new couch or something, and so it's difficult for a lot of people right now.
It is, and
people on food banks. So Wally would talk more about that, because he does it every Saturday.
I mean, you see people struggling. We've noticed a huge surge in the number of people coming to the food bank recently. We're getting a lot less food. Some of our funding has run out. So we're having to, whereas before we were able to give each family a decent kind of balance, like food stuff and produce and things like that. We're now seeing, because of the large number of people attending, we have to kind of portion them in a way that everybody can get them. So whereas
Right.
before maybe we were doing 27 families,
Yeah.
we now have to extend that to maybe 40, and then a lot of people are getting less food, less quality.
Right.
And it's not just that, but people come there and complain of their everyday existence. The gas and the electricity, that's a big issue in the community. And funnily enough, there's, as Ahmed mentioned, there's a lot of support available.
Yeah.
The Haringey cost of living support is there.
Yeah.
People have come to the office and were down to their last £50, for example. We would apply
Wow.
for them and then get them £500.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our community members, and it's not just the Somali community, but it's most community, any community in Haringey and also in the UK, are not aware of a lot of services and a lot of support available.
Absolutely.
Right.
There's a lot of the energy companies are doing discounts.
Mhm.
A lot of people are not aware of that.
Right.
And some of the kind of like
Temple.
supermarkets are doing discounts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure once you see, if you go to the fridge, for example, you see like discounted items.
Yeah.
There's even an app I came across recently, Too
Really?
Good to Go. It's
Too
called
Good-
Too Good to Go, and if you
Okay.
go on there,
Yeah.
all the supermarkets advertise all the things which are kind of like on the close to expiry,
Right.
but which are edible.
Okay.
So if you go on the app, download the app, guys. It's really good. I'm not advertising, but it's,
You're not
it's a really
sponsored,
good
so
app.
just make that, make that clear.
And I've signposted and referred people to it.
Uh-huh.
I actually downloaded it myself just to see how it works, and also to get the occasional, items here and there. It's really useful. So yeah, there's that app. There's a lot of other things that people can do, and I think
We've been also
it's a struggle.
supporting.
Yeah,
We've been also supporting. For instance, last year we gave out 100 computers to
Yeah.
children that obviously that are disadvantaged within our community. So
Mm-hmm.
like we gave almost 100 computers
Yeah.
this year, Sabir. I mean,
yeah,
you saw the last 15
yeah.
Yeah.
Just yesterday.
just yesterday. We
Uh-huh.
just obviously we were handing them out, and these computers are like vital to them because if they go outside and try to buy it, it's £300.
Mhm.
They're already struggling with rising cost of rent, of food, of electricity, and now they have to buy laptops and
For their son or daughter.
and computers for their children. Is totally not gonna happen,
Yeah.
and that's why most of the children from the Somali community in Haringey were before excluded from like taking part in computer activities.
Right.
But we notice now, for the first time, we hear them saying thank you to us. Sometimes we even get email being sent to us with a thank you note from the child and telling them they're now able to do their homework in their laptops and their new Raspberry Pi and computers. And it's absolutely amazing. Like sometimes with a lot of support, you can do a lot. So Haringey Giving, I mean, Dahabshil with his food, who supported our food bank, Haringey Council or Haringey Support Fund. These are really vital services and vital funding that can really make worthwhile for residents that are living in Haringey, especially for the Somali community who are really struggling at this. I mean, some of the other communities they technically do better. They mostly live in council housing, which is a lot cheaper or housing associations. But for some reason, Somalis live in rented housing, which is private rented mostly.
Yeah.
And private rented is really difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, the Turkish communities, the other communities, they live on council housing, and so I wonder sometimes, like, why are not the Somalis not getting into the council ladder? Because is it because there's not many of us inside the system? Is there a system at fault? What's going on? So sometimes we're always writing back and forwards to the council, and we hope to see new changes. And we're being promised a lot of new homes are being built, and there'll be hope. But like the backlog of people, whoa, it's unbelievable.
But just on that point as well, I think a lot has been promised. You hear 4,000 council houses are being built. Who are getting these houses?
Right.
This is a good question. The other thing is, whenever you see a new development, a lot of those houses are sold off to millionaires.
Yep.
who sometimes don't even live in these houses,
Right.
which then obviously increases the price of rent, and obviously makes a lot of people not be able to get on the property ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you see like changes. There's demographic changes as well within Haringey.
Mm.
There's in certain areas, the housing has become almost out of reach for
Right.
for ordinary people
Mm-hmm.
or for average people.
Yeah.
You find new people coming into the area.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it a lot of people are also struggling to pay rent,
Yeah.
and people are being priced out of London, and
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing people moving to like outside of London,
Yeah. The
for example.
outskirts. Mm-hmm.
I knew of a family who were evicted from their house, and they were sent to Bolton.
Wow.
I mean, this is all the way in Manchester, somewhere up in north,
Yeah.
away from their family, from their connections, from the school. Imagine just being literally being plucked out from London and being, you know,
Re-
transplanted into somewhere that you
yeah.
have no idea of. These are the
Right.
struggles that people are facing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I think off the back of COVID, we've
Mm-hmm.
seen a lot of inequalities shine through.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of ethnic minority, BAME people are at the front line of getting the COVID,
Yeah.
more likely to get it. Also, they work like unstable jobs,
Mm-hmm.
no sustainable income,
Right.
which then means they can't afford to pay their rent,
Mm-hmm.
which then means they can't afford to buy food, which is now spiked and it's become very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing is connected, and I think there needs to be serious changes in this country because we
Yeah.
cannot continue like this.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah.
think so. I mean, for example, like Haringey Council, there's something that they can really change. For instance, if your child is 16 years old, the moment he finishes school, if he does not go into education, they'll wait for you for 1 year. If he does go into education, you're lucky. If he doesn't
Mhm.
go into education, they'll wait for you 1 year,
Yeah.
and then they won't send you any like notification, anything to what is he doing. Oh, after 1 year, you just see a 6,000 bill to you because your son
That's
hasn't gone there.
ridiculous.
And there's what
Yeah.
they're saying is now they call it non-dependent. He's now non-dependent, so he's not dependent on you. And for that reason, he's supposed to take part in paying the bills. This is a child who's not working, who's not doing
Right.
nothing, who's mostly maybe just wandering off in society.
Mhm.
So like he's probably at the job center.
I would
Yeah.
say there is these big bodies such as Haringey Council, the government, etc. Right, and they have the ability to provide more for these people, right?
Yeah.
However, I would like to go zoom in on the Rise organization itself. And one thing I have personally liked about working for Rise is the fulfillment you get. That sense of you're actually making an impact on people's lives. Could you guys tell us a story perhaps on something that maybe one of the programs has led someone to go from, I don't know, a place where they needed a lot of help and now them being a bit better directly because of Rise? Because
Wow, that's really a profound question, Sabir.
Mhm.
I can think of many
Millions.
examples,
Mhm.
but in terms of my own personal fulfillment, firstly, and I have been involved with the food bank since it's actually 4 years. 4 years, 7th of December 2019. That's when we
Wow.
started. I think in total we've missed 4 Saturdays. Every Saturday without fail, we get up early in the morning, go to Enfield, pick up the surplus food from the Felix project,
Mhm.
bring it back to the site. There's been multiple sites, but at the moment we're based at St Anne's Library.
Yeah.
We come there. We've got an amazing group of volunteers who are dedicated, who are just so involved in wanting to help the community. Um, we we've got our crates there. The library staff have been brilliant.
Mhm.
We've advertised widely, and over the last 4 years, we've seen people change. We've seen people who are really struggling come to the food bank, get their weekly like
Supply.
food crate, food
Yeah.
supply, And we've seen people find themselves again, get back on their feet.
Right.
It's a support that's always available whenever the person needs. We've seen people come initially and
Yeah.
then leave for a year or two and then come back again because of maybe they've lost their job or things like that. So you see people, and it's almost like you see the journey of the struggles of people. And
Yeah.
obviously we speak to the people, and they're quite honest with us, and they say a lot of things. It's always important to also ask for feedback.
Yeah.
So for me, that gives me great fulfillment. I haven't had a Saturday in 4 years,
Yeah.
but you know
Yeah,
what?
that's
It's
incredible.
important because
Yeah.
over 60 families are dependent on that, and it's a vital lifeline for so many people.
Yeah.
Some of the other kind of fulfillment I get from the organization are too many to list, but I absolutely enjoy Friday night football, which
Yeah.
I'm also involved with Ahmed and Mohammed as well.
Uh-huh.
And obviously previous shout outs to people like Ali Saeed and also Muhammad Abdulaziz
Yeah.
and many others, and also AJ as well, who was involved. And so
Yeah.
we've all kind of built this amazing platform together,
Yeah.
and that has now become so oversubscribed.
Yeah.
We struggled at the beginning with 6 players a week. There's been times where we had to cancel,
Yeah.
but now we are getting over 30 players a week.
Yeah.
And the list just literally just last week when we released it, for example, and within 3 minutes, all 24 places were fully occupied. And that's amazing. And the banter, the jokes. So some of the young men who come there, for example, came when they were like 17.
Yeah.
They're now like in their early 20s, 21, 22.
You've seen that.
You've seen the change.
Yeah.
They're going to uni, they're finding the jobs, the apprenticeships, those that we've kind of engaged with who come to the office. We
Yeah.
fill out forms, get them into apprenticeships, fill their UCAS forms, get them into jobs. Ahmed here has got how many people into jobs
Wow,
over the
so
last,
many.
like,
Countless.
amazing life affirming fulfillment I personally get from Rice projects.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many individuals I can think of,
Yeah.
and obviously as part of the contract, sometimes we have to write case studies.
Right.
But yeah, I would like to say, Alhamdulillah, we've impacted people to
Yeah.
such a level that Yeah.
For me, my greatest achievement would have been on housing. There's a number of stuff that we did at Rice, but like for me, the biggest achievement was the case where we took on a case with she was a Somali lady. Don't want to mention her name, but she had a problem with housing. It was a private rented housing. The landlord would make her every few months. He would just increase the rent and tell her to pay her. Tell her to pay him the cash in cash. The money in cash, not like obviously accounted for, not in an account,
Yeah.
not sent from any account. He wanted it in cash. I knew there was something not right about that. I mean, who just increases your rent, and then he just kept saying there's a rent increase, there's this. Then when she refused, he wanted to get her out of the house by just sending a letter saying, "I want you to move out of the house in 2 months." He just felt like she would just move out. And that's what she was looking to do. She just was hopeless. She didn't know the system. When she came to me, I straight away looked at the situation, and then I found somebody from the Haring Gates private rented. There was a lady called Fiona from private rented. She deals with like private rented associations, and she really went in. She sent him an email. She said, "Leave it with me." She sent him an email. She obviously quickly asked him to send the new contract.
Right.
So the tenancy agreement. So not a contract, sorry, tenancy agreement is the one that's given to you as soon as you take obviously an ownership of a private rent. So he couldn't provide that. So she told him to give her a tenancy agreement now. So obviously he gave her a 2-year tenancy agreement, and she made sure that he did. She said obviously to the lady, we can obviously, if you had given that money in obviously through an account, we could have got it back from him.
Yeah.
But now it's your word against his. So like he would say, I didn't give it to her. I didn't get any money from her.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He kept denying it. So now that lady no longer has to pay that rent increase. She now knows her rent price. The council actually pays that money, and obviously to her. She's on universal credit, so obviously everything goes through having a benefits team, and she's got a contract. She's gonna be there for 2 years. Probably could find that someone even better or better housing, or she's probably gonna be on the new we put her on and we registered her to the council register. So they backdated all her time that she's been obviously living in these places, and she's now on the register. So that was a positive outcome. And it was someone that was about to lose her home. I mean, for someone to come to you with no more hope, and if you impact on them and their lives, and you put them out of that misery, is a big plus. And it says, I mean, we stand for the name Impact.
Yeah.
So because people don't know what Rise is. Rise is Rise.
And break it down for them. Let them know.
Rise is real impact, social empowerment. So real impact. We are actually real impact making institution.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people, they just know Rise.
Yeah.
But there's a story behind the Rise. There's a real impact.
There is
a story that started in a coffee shop who grew into.
Well, actually, I think you're being too humble, Ahmed. But maybe going back years back, Ahmed used to. You founded Real Impact Community in 2006.
Was that RIC?
RIC. This goes way back, and that was, I guess, kind of like the first
taste
time
of just doing things with the community.
And that
but it didn't go too well. It didn't go according to
it was
the same.
I was a volunteer back then, by the way.
I remember. It didn't go too
Wait,
well.
Awale, you were the volunteer?
I was a volunteer. It was when I was studying. So I was one of the youth volunteers.
Okay.
And Ahmed was the founder at the time. And then
but then we
built local guys, isn't it? Like local guys, friends.
But there was a lot of challenges at that time. There was too much. There was so many challenges. There was so many other communities. There's so many.
It was a different era.
Yeah, it was a different. But
more funding as well. Labour government.
Labour government was there. There was more funding.
Austerity.
Youth opportunity funding. That's what we used to.
Exactly.
That's what we used to apply at that time, and there was.
Yeah.
So there was. But then I wouldn't take anything from the new Rise.
The new Rise from 2016.
Yeah.
So obviously the Real Impact Social Empowerment. The R and the I are still there, Real Impact. Now we've just added social empowerment.
Yeah.
And obviously projects, Rise projects. So at the base of everything we do is to socially empower people, get them into work, housing, support services, whether it's football or, like food bank or employability and many other things. So the new Rise celebrated its birthday. I think it was 21st of November. 7 years, alhamdulillah.
I also like the zoo, Awale. Remember the zoo trip?
The zoo.
Wow, that was a seller for me. Let me make you guys laugh. That's the first time I've actually been to the zoo. I was literally hiding with those children, pretending I've actually been there.
After what? How many years?
After 25 years of living in the UK.
Yeah.
Maybe more than 27
Where were
years
you
now.
in 2000?
I've never went to the
22.
zoo.
We went there.
I wasn't there. I was not around that time. I was on holiday.
Yeah.
I was on holiday, so that's the first time I've ever been to a zoo. So I remember being like obviously a young person, and we obviously grew up in a household where there was not enough. Like we grew up in a household where there was obviously my mom and there was the young people there and lone parent, and obviously it was a hard life growing up in social council housing, and you only went to trips when the school took you. There was at that time also, if you guys remember, not many people remember, but like there was not money around. There was like it was 97, 98.
No one worked.
Nobody worked. There was not enough work.
It was.
I mean, Somalis have really came far in life from 2000.
Why do you think that is, though?
I really feel like because they learned the language, they learned the system, and at that time there was no jobs, there was nothing around. It was almost deserted places. I compare life of 1920s in America to what was going on in the Depression years for the Somali community. It was
tough times.
We were on 50p. We used to get 50p a week.
But everything cost less back then.
Yeah, but then 50p a week. My school friends used to have £5 a week or something.
Okay.
When we were on 50p.
Yeah.
And they could buy everything they wanted to with chicken after school. And I used to remember being there, and you can't even obviously have a chicken wing or anything because it cost so much.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole household income was like £90. So what can anyone do?
That was
What can anyone for a month? I think less than
it
that.
can't be a month.
It was probably less than that. It was It was really bad. It was really bad. It was.
Yeah.
But from 2000, I feel like things have changed. And then parents started working. people started doing things, more money came, and
people started
Labour
working.
obviously changed a
They got
lot
rid of
since
Khad.
'97.
They got rid of Khat as
And
well.
I'll be
As in
honest,
they made it illegal.
Illegal.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So Khat, obviously, a lot of the people were just chewing away.
Yeah,
Right.
Practically.
throwing away fathers,
Yeah,
absent fathers.
absent fathers.
I mean, my father
long-term
died when I
unemployment.
was 4 years old, but like,
Sorry to hear.
yeah,
Oh,
really
yeah.
bad. But like, obviously, but like, obviously, growing up with our father was also a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Like being in the UK, growing up with our father. I mean, at a point to prove, and sometimes it's always you recall someone in your life.
Mm.
For me, there was a teacher called Mr. Wilkinson. I'll never forget him.
Mm.
He was my form tutor, and he was the one that used to, because I used to always be, like, sometimes I used to get suspended, and I was just one of those kids. You might never think Ahmed was like, I was suspended.
Can't imagine
I was
that.
suspended 3 times from school. It's all in the records. 3 times from school. I mean,
Wow.
that's how like bad it was. But like, he would always get me into focus. He would remind me of like where I wanted to be. And he would always tell me, he would always remind me of like, he knew my family background, so he would remind me of like the struggle my mum went through. And because he remember seeing my mum in front of him, and she knew like I didn't have my father around, and he knew the system, so he would always remind me and put me back to where I was. And I would literally be like, okay. And then that's how I finished school, and that's how I got to it. And
Okay.
Where is
there was a
Mr.
time when I used
Wilkinson?
to, Mr. Wilkinson's
Where is he
probably
now?
the last I remember, he was at Howard. What a guy! He was like a fantastic.
Everyone's always got that one
Yeah,
teacher that they
yeah.
remember.
I will always
Yeah.
remember him. He was the one that every time I was off target and I was off the system, he would literally bring me back and put me back into earth and just humbly talk to me and tell me who I was. And he also related to me because he was number one, and obviously he was a black teacher, so black, and it was sort of like he didn't shy away from being honest with me. I felt like some of the other white teachers, they would be more afraid to like say their piece because they really don't want to upset you. But with him, he would say as it is. Mr. Wilkinson would tell you. He would say that is full of bad. Like he would literally put it in his own words. He would not shy away from the truth. You can't go around the bushes with him, and sometimes you need that figure to be there. And from Rise, I sort of had the Mr. Wilkinson feeling in there. So every time we do projects and we're helping someone, whether it's the youth, whether it's the football, whether it's a parent, I add the Mr. Wilkinson feeling to let them know the true feeling. So like Mr. Wilkinson is part of Rise. He's inside
spirit.
His spirit is like wrapped around Rise.
That's hilarious.
Absolutely.
That's hilarious.
Anyone for you, Awale?
For me, I mean, I can think of many teachers, definitely. Mr. Goodison, also another black teacher. He sat me down and explained, the consequences. Because for some reason, most Somali guys in school, they've always had behavior issues. It doesn't matter like how academic you are. It doesn't matter how bright you are. There's always an issue. Someone starts a fight. You have to back it.
Right.
It's just who we are. You end up getting,
rule.
Exactly. And you get excluded.
Yeah.
I was excluded countless times in secondary school. I think it was at least 10 times.
Look at that.
But Mr. Goodison, he supported me a lot. They had this program in year 10 for black boys with behavior problems. He ran it. I don't think that was the name of it. I was on it, definitely. I used to go there, and they used to look at the grades, and they used to support you with like attainment and like improving confidence and so many other things. And for me, Mr. Goodison was really a very impactful role model for me. The other teacher I can definitely think of was a guy called Mr. Wiley. He was my geography teacher. And I've always loved geography to the point where I ended up studying geography at uni.
Yeah.
And he really inspired me to pursue that life.
Mr. Duran Farah?
Duran from Al Hijra Somali community.
Absolutely.
This was years back, but like it was kind of like the rise of its day. So they had a youth club, the football Al Hijra. My
so
brother
Duran was
Ahmed,
really
the Hoj and everybody.
For me, Duran was like the influential figure that led me to pursue my career in obviously studying NGO management at UEL, and then coming on to doing Rise projects and standing community work. Because he really was what you call a leader. He was he was very young at that time. If you look back a while, he wasn't much older than us.
No.
He was, but like what? He was a young man.
Yeah.
He's only on his 50s now, so you can imagine.
He was a minister in Somalia as well, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he became a minister after that. I knew Duran would make it because like
aviation minister. Yeah.
Wow.
that's Duran for you. Duran was one of those guys. He was on the ball. He will always look to the youth as the inspiration, and he always looked to the youth, whether it was football, whether it was camping trips. I mean, I used to go. Sometimes you can't beat what the guy achieves in terms of like achievements. I mean, he organized camping trips.
Yeah,
we've never organized one residential trip. I mean, let alone doing the football and these outings. He's actually done residential trips outside of Haringey, and he can get people to come. So like, if you can do that and take young people and trust is there, and you can take them to camping and stay with you for 5 days, now that is incredible.
Yeah.
So he made it into a family. The Al-Hijra family was like young people from all of Haringey, Somali young people that come together. They eat together. We used to go mosque together. And a lot of the friends that we have till this day are from that branch of Al-Hijra. Awale, myself.
It's a generational thing,
And
isn't
it's
it?
just generation thing, yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Sabir? I mean, you asked the question.
Yeah.
Did you have any inspirational teachers?
You know what? There's no one that comes to mind. However, I would say, me growing up, I would look up to like people online. I was on YouTube a lot.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's probably so prior to me working at Rise, I was in the IT field, obviously, and I was really keen on like just learning about how things work and how a computer screen is the way it is, and it was just fascinating to me. So I really got into the tech side of YouTube, and I don't look up to him no longer, but like I used to really like there was a film, I forgot the name, it was about Mark Zuckerberg and how he created Facebook.
Yes.
And for me that was inspirational. Also same with Elon Musk as well. And I was looking at these figures and thinking to myself, obviously it's not the full story who they are as a person, and there's a lot of question marks around Facebook and data privacy and whatnot, but I just always thought to myself, these are people who literally are very intelligent and manage to make something out of themselves, and those are kind of like the people I look up to. But I'd say someone in person that I would see more often. Yeah, I would. You know what it is? I feel like I hold myself to high standards. So like I didn't really meet someone who really pushed me to where I was looking up to. It was a very high bar.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah.
But for me, we came a long way. So like, especially my upbringing was really difficult. From when you look back, I mean, feel proud. Like only recently I won Haringey Heroes Award. 2007
well
Peace
done
Award,
on that, by the way.
Community champion. Community looking there. And it started off with the son of Kamal Haider. My dad used to do Kamal Haider when he was young.
Amazing.
And then I was born into a refugee camp.
Amazing.
Flew to the UK, found myself in here.
Yeah.
Clueless at the age of 7, had to learn the whole of English language at year 3, while students were there in front of me, and I had to literally learn and just find friends. I had to learn English in 6 months. I had to go bam, 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 6 months, and then I knew how to speak English and how to obviously do a few things. And then go on from there, go on to UEL, go on to, launch Rise projects. And so like it's a long way. And then winning Haringey Heroes, and then winning an impact with the whole community.
Exactly.
We won the Community Safety Award this year for the whole of all the communities. I mean, our community was recognized as the best community for community safety. So like, we're really recognized in doing work, and we could have got all of the awards. I feel like
actually, the Organization of the Year award, they did a poll. They did a poll, and we lost by 2 points to Sewn Together. They had 23, we had 21 points. If only we were able to somehow get 2 more points.
If only.
If only.
There's always next year.
There's next year.
We came a long way. And only these stories can be told in Haringey. Let's bear in mind, like, I mean, it's only in Haringey you can have the son of a camel header coming here to achieve his dream.
It's incredible, Ahmed. Have
You
you
can,
ever considered maybe ghostwriting your story, doing an
This is
I
your
autobiography?
always
autobiography.
did. I
Yeah.
always wanted to do that because it started off in a bad way, and me being where I am now. I mean, I forgot to tell you guys, I contested for local council, failed in 2010, the first ever Somali to contest and
That's
to
a
be
big
put on the
achievement.
ballot. I mean, that's, for me, that is the greatest achievement. I mean,
Yeah.
being put on that ballot as a Somali man, seeing my name there, and people can choose me.
Yeah.
What
Ahmed
party? What party were you
I
representing?
don't want to say it, but like, I don't want to go to there. I'm
Well,
Labour
okay.
now. I'm
Well,
a Labour
okay.
man now. So
Okay.
let's not look back at the past.
Right.
But since we're talking about the past, I'll
Yeah.
share it with you. I was a Liberal Democrat. I was not.
Really?
I've always supported Labour. I've always
Yes.
supported Labour, guys.
Yes.
But sometimes to put yourself in a ballot, you need to do something, because the Labour Council, like, they were reluctant to choose you, but with the Liberal Democrats it was more easier. They weren't elected, they never had
Yeah.
seats. So if you
Yeah.
go to them and say, hello, this is me, they'll
They
be like,
welcome
do
you,
you want to be on
yeah.
the ballot? They needed people on the ballot. So
Yeah.
like,
That's a big
me going
achievement.
to work with a guy called David Shim, is a friend of mine, who then became a councillor. Like, he suggested to me, he was running for local MP, and he said, do you want to run for local council? I was like, I'm a privilege. What do I need to do? He said, well, it's very simple. You got me, you got a few other guys, and all you need is 7 people to put you on the ballot. 7
Quite
people.
straightforward.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did. So next minute I was contesting in Bruce Grove. And what really shocked me was, at the beginning I thought there's going to be 4,000 Somalis inside Bruce Grove that are going to vote for you. But on the ballot paper, when we were looking at the register, the voting register, there was only 700 people. And that 700 people, no matter what they do, I only got 700 in the end. So like, it could be, I mean, it was, if I had a bigger number and a bigger turnout,
Yeah.
I could have won, because the one that beat me, they got 1,200, 1,100. I wasn't far
It
from
was
it.
quite close, yeah.
It was quite close
Yeah.
when you look at it, because if I had 500-600 more people voting for me, I would have done it. So like,
Yeah.
nevertheless, it was a good achievement, and to see Ibrahim there as a councillor now,
Absolutely.
From
It's sort of-
same ward, isn't it?
same ward, the same
Different
place I
party
stood,
though, yeah.
different. He's now on the same. We
Yeah.
I mean, I'm part of the Labour Party. I got my card. I'm a member. I'm a
Yeah.
full member. I get the letters from the Labour. So like, hopefully, I'll contest in elections one of these
Definitely.
years.
Definitely.
With my community background and my social responsibility and my understanding of the community and my level of work and supporting the community, I stand a better chance than most people. I mean, majority of the councillors, they won't have the same touches I have with the community.
No, you're right.
And-
Because a lot of them are just parachuted in.
Yeah, parachute.
Yeah.
No connection to the local area, no understanding of the local issues.
Yeah.
They've been pre-selected because
Right.
someone in HQ has said, okay, this person needs to go in there,
Yeah.
and then they automatically get elected
Yeah.
because this is a Labour, stronghold. Real people from the local community need to be considered for those
Right.
positions.
Mm.
But unfortunately, the way I'm not a
It's
member of any
politics.
party. I'm independent.
Right.
But I think there needs to be some kind of. They need to reform
There
how
is
they
some
select.
changes. I mean, the leader of the
Yeah.
council, she put on the ballot for the first time, she put a Somali speaking person in there, and so they're really trying. They're really trying, and there are 1 or 2 that are in the community that are really doing good things. Yeah, so like,
But I want to raise an important point, which is okay, if someone might be from the same ethnic group as you, and they might be in a political office, but could you rely on your kind of like ethnicity? Because to be honest, most people are facing the same issues: cost of living, lack of
Right.
housing,
Regardless of
where you're from.
Yeah.
I think we need to think kind of.
bigger than that.
But yeah, in a way, I mean, it's good to have the person in there, almost even if they're a token person.
Yeah. for
Not to take anything
representation.
away.
Yeah.
It's good to see, yourself or your where you're from represented.
Yeah.
But I think
It gives
politics
encouragement
is
to young
yeah,
people
it does
out there
yeah,
to
it does
have a chance to take part. That's all it does.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean just because you have a Somali person in local government that he's going to achieve miracles for you.
No,
I mean, they might never achieve anything for you, but like,
yeah.
if that was the case, we would have
Absolutely.
got so many things and we didn't get so many things for Rice because
yeah.
Okay then. Whilst we're on the topic of change, let's discuss some changes you guys want to make going into 2024. Some of the goals for Rise, or even personal goals that you guys might have.
Wow, that's a really good question, Sabir. I'll start off with myself. You know, I would like to see a lot of changes in my life. Definitely, not to push, not to shine a light on myself or put myself under pressure.
Yeah.
But I've been eating healthy recently. Well, over the last year,
Yeah.
2023, made a resolution, to eat healthy.
Transformation.
Yeah,
Saw
and
that
I've been going
picture.
to the gym,
Uh-huh.
a lot. I've been involved with lots of kind of like social causes. Definitely, there's a lot I want to achieve this year, like any other year. And in terms of Rice projects, definitely, I think there's a very, very thin line between life and work balance. Like personal life and work balance, because you're so invested in your work, and alhamdulillah, it does give you a lot of purpose. But at the same time, maybe to work smarter. Definitely, those are some of the things I'm looking to do. Maybe not to overwork.
Yeah.
I think that's always very helpful.
Finding that balance.
Finding that balance, I
Yeah.
think, is important, because ultimately
100%.
it's a job, and you don't want it to kind of consume you and take over your life.
Right.
As it's done in previous years. But 2023 was alhamdulillah a good year, so there was definitely boundaries there.
Yeah.
But in terms of the organization, I think a lot more needs to be done. Of course, always more needs to be done. I think we're now in a position where we might have, suppose, like sustainability, maybe over the next 1 or 2 years. In this industry, as you've all seen, things can change very quickly. There isn't any kind of long-term guarantees or any long-term securities. You just have to be on the ball, constantly applying. For example, last week we were working on a bid for another program. Whether the bid is accepted or not is not entirely up to us. There's usually people in dark rooms, who make those decisions.
Yeah.
But not in
Processes.
dark rooms, but processes, I should
Right.
say.
Yeah.
But yeah, decisions will have an impact ultimately. But I think just to continue the work that we're doing, I think for me is the most important thing, and just to go into another year feeling confident that the work that we're doing is not only have an impact. The demand is there. We've done the research.
Yeah.
There's a huge demand for the service that we do, but there's cuts everywhere.
Right.
We're still going through austerity. Maybe next year, if there's a general election,
Yeah.
I hear the Labour Party is
yeah,
very much for the voluntary sector.
yeah.
Right.
Maybe there'll be changes there. Maybe there'll be more funding. Maybe there'll be more opportunities.
Booth
I guess.
conservative out.
Yeah, maybe. I guess what I'm really trying to say is we have to do everything within our capacity and within our
Right.
power. But at the same time, there are other kind of external factors that impact on whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's kind of my
For
kind of 2
me,
cents.
2024, I want to see Awale get awarded because he really is a fantastic guy.
Give him
He
the
really
award.
He deserves.
He's being humble, but
I mean, like,
Earlier this month, we won the Impact Award. How many more
yeah,
awards
but
do you
I'm
want?
saying personal award, similar to my Heroes Award.
Okay. That, I
level.
can see that.
You really deserve it, because
Yeah.
sometimes I'll feel like I won't deserve it if you don't get it, because like we have to always get it together. So like I
Yeah.
feel like you're missing that
That kind
factor,
of individual.
individual.
Yeah.
Like, so 2024, there's going to be a big push toward making sure Awale gets recognized for his work. So he's really been doing
All of us.
fantastic work. But
inshallah.
you've obviously,
Yeah.
I've got recognized for it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Through the Peace Award,
Yeah.
through the Heroes Award. So this could be a 10 for you to obviously get recognized for
I
that wonderful
appreciate
work
that.
you
Thank
do.
you.
Man, I want to see us get office. I mean, Harrogate Council have previously promised us something. The letters are there, the email is there.
Uh-huh.
We met the leader of the council, by the way, who never came back. I don't know why. I mean, not the leader of the council, sorry, the chief executive, the leader of the council is very open to the Rise project and she's been very supportive. But the chief executive, he's been there, spoke to us, and he's sort of like, okay, the Somali community, but he's never been back. So they also made a promise on behalf of him on the council to give us a new premise. And the letters are there, and they just have to reply back because it's really silly of them.
Kind of dragging on now.
It's been dragging on for a year, and they've been saying they'll do something. So So
no, I mean, just on that point as well, Sabir. Sorry to interrupt, but
No worries.
for example, we've been running the youth club. Well, you've been running the youth club, and we couldn't do it in December because of closure, right?
Right.
If we had our own space,
Yeah.
we could run the activities there.
Yeah.
At the moment where we're the location we're based at, the Trampery, is a very good space.
Yeah.
But we have such a small office in there. If we had a bigger like community space,
Right.
we could do community cook-ups. We can do so much. We can do kind of like so many different activities, but we're limited in terms of what we can do as an organization because of the limited space and also rent going up as well.
definitely, I'm also looking forward to the end of year bowling.
Yeah,
If that,
so
if
the
that's
social,
happening, guys, it's also social.
yeah.
We've got a little staff
I'm
get
looking
together
forward to it.
that I'm
Yeah,
sorting
guys,
out.
I'm looking,
It's in the works.
I'm looking forward to it, so I'll let everybody know in the next episode how that went. So I'm giving a heads up. I've never done bowling for a long time, but I know how to bowl. I want to see how Sabir throws it.
I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I've got a
Awale
bit of
throws it. So
experience.
I know Awale's never bowled before, so
I haven't.
Oh,
gonna-
that's gonna be
he's
a
gonna bowl
sight.
and throw it, and it's gonna go backwards. He's gonna be like, whoa, Awale's going backwards.
I need to be careful.
I'm really looking forward to that one. So that's gonna go into next year because after we do this is the next one will be next year, so we can let the audience know how the bowling went.
Yeah, and the end of your
I want to
social.
beat them guys. I'll make a commitment. I'll beat all of them.
We'll see.
And if I don't, they get a box of chocolate each.
We'll hold you to that.
100%. I'm a man of my word.
That's
I
true.
mean,
Because I know I'll beat them.
just to wrap
great
it
bowler,
up, I'm just gonna quickly comment on what I would like to get done maybe
Definitely,
for
yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
In terms of Rise, I feel like definitely more outreach, reaching more members of the community. I work a lot with the younger demographic, with the youth club and football and whatnot, but definitely want to get into more the older people, maybe the parents. You guys also hold something for dads. What was it called?
Father's Network.
Yeah.
That's right, Father's Network. So maybe get a bit of that
Taste
work
of
in.
that.
Yeah, exactly. That would be very nice. And just diversify. Personal goals, I would say.
Get Jordans. New Jordans.
He's already got
Maybe
Jordans.
some
Gotta
new
get
kicks.
new ones,
Maybe some new kicks.
Get
Yeah.
Jordan Space Jam. That was a slushy one. Who knows the Space
The
Jam?
Black Hats. There's one called Black Hats.
Yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah,
Space
yeah,
Jam.
yeah. Those are really nice.
Yeah.
The
The
one
triple
that
black
used to
ones.
go
Yeah.
out of stock is Space Jam.
Oh, I think I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're very expensive. The Air Max.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah. So currently, I have a few goals. In January, I'm running a half marathon.
Wow.
So
Wow,
that's
that is
something that's
incredible.
going to be good. It's
That's
actually
incredible.
for I'm building a water well as Sadaqa Jariyah. So
Mashallah.
yeah, I've raised the money for it. I just need to run.
That is
I'm
incredible.
currently also filming a documentary about how 24 is gonna go. What's that quote I said the other day?
Which one?
If you
plan to fail.
If you
You-
plan to,
Yeah,
I
you fail
remember.
to plan.
Yeah.
I remember.
So- I've realized that the past 2 years were just a blur. Like I can't really point to certain accomplishments and say, you know what, I
Yeah.
planned this out and I've accomplished it. So I've literally planned out everything quarterly, monthly for 2024. And God willing, I just want to execute on my plans and really
You
get.
look like you got a
Inshallah.
direction. I really
That's
like
amazing,
that about Sabir.
amazing.
He's got a direction, a
Yeah.
focus, and going on to 2024, I always can see him achieving so much for Rise,
Absolutely.
for himself.
Yeah.
Because even on what he said now, I mean, I'd love to see him doing something on Rise. Yeah, he's always doing
Yeah.
social media, so like,
Yeah.
yeah, so
No,
not going to
definitely.
work already, but like,
Yeah.
Sabir's gonna be right up there. So
No,
hopefully,
definitely.
2024,
Most
and is literally, guys, time is up.
Yeah.
Wow.
We still, I think, yeah,
So
just to
goodbye,
wrap it up.
everybody. Wrap it
Oh, but I
up.
think that the host usually wraps it up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lovely episode. It was nice having you guys on.
Definitely.
Might not be seeing them on the next
Mm.
podcast. We might have another guest. However, always welcome to come back and
Definitely.
comment.
Def-
But
Definitely.
yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'd like you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. That'll be excellent. And yeah, if you guys want to,
Definitely. No, thank you so much, Sabir. It's really good to be back. For me, the first episode, January, resolutions were made. Now we're kind of reflecting. I kind of like that dynamic.
absolutely.
Hopefully, if you guys want me back, I'm always here. Even,
I'm
even
gonna
behind
consider
the
it.
camera,
I'm gonna
know.
consider
Yeah,
it.
consider that. Consider that. Maybe in a year's time.
We've got the veto power,
Yeah.
guys. We use the big veto power.
No veto power, but
We
thank
will
you
use
so
the
much,
veto
Sabir,
power.
and Ahmed as well. I feel like I've
Yeah,
gotten
thank
to
you,
know you guys a lot more, and it's we work so much, but having these kind of personal discussions, like what Ahmed said about Mr. Wilkinson,
Yeah.
like
Mr.
that for me
yeah.
is quite epic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The story. I didn't know your grandfather was a camel herder as well.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
remarkable. I
Our
mean,
father and
yeah.
grandfather.
wow.
We used to have over 1,000 camels.
Wow. I hope they're still alive.
They're gone, mostly gone.
Oh,
It went.
wow. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great, and yeah, well, I've enjoyed my time here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a blast. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you guys can tune into the next episode.